Well, things are changing.
They are changing. But you know what? The thing I like about it is that some things change, but a lot of things stay the same. And you, my friend, you have been a tried and true rock and roll guitarist forever. You know what I'm saying? You are an institution, Ross the Boss, and that's where we start our podcast with. We have a section called "Let's Go Back to Get Forward." All right, so I just want to recap a little bit, and everybody that's in the chat, you'll see comments coming up. Thank you very much for showing up in the chat today. Again, if you are listening to this on one of the audio broadcasts, which is Apple or Spotify or any of those, pull your car over or stop what you're doing and get on the YouTube official Ryan Roxie channel, because guess what? The chat's where it's at. And we are here with Ross the Boss. And obviously, you can hear from the accent. You grew up in New York City, didn't you?
The Bronx.
You grew up in the Bronx. But here's what I found a little bit interesting. You started out as a violin, piano prodigy.
Yes.
All right. So, like, how did you find the guitar, or better yet, how did the guitar find you?
You know what? I found myself, I was 13 years old. I was in junior high school. I was playing, I picked up violin. I moved up to first violin, right? I'm like, okay, I'm learning. I'm very, very adept at it. And I'm looking at myself, I go, boy, you are a nerd. I mean, I was just a Jewish kid from the Bronx and a nerd playing violin. And I'm going, if you want to get someplace, especially with your female friends, I think you might think about changing your mode of operandi. And I was looking at Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Jim Morrison and everything of my time. And I said, you know what? I think I might be trying to switch to guitar. Might be a better path for me. And I went out, my grandmother, we went to the music store, we bought a guitar, acoustic guitar, and I took it from there.
There you go. I got my acoustic with me right now today, and I see in your man cave, you have more than just one guitar.
Yeah.
What is your go-to? The one just right off the bat, because we do have a lot of musicians that are watching in the chat right now. What's your go-to in that arsenal right there?
Well, I just got the Grossman, this guitar company from Romania, Grossman,
Nice.
and made me my own guitar, and it's like it's like a Maserati SG. I mean, like the ESP Vipers are SGs on steroids. This thing is SG on like
crack.
3 rods, springs through the body. This thing
Love
is
it.
stable. Great guitar.
Great. So when did that come out?
He made me like 2 years ago. He made it for me, and guys have been buying them off him. And
right.
Great guitar.
Cool. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the equipment a little bit later, but you know what? I want to keep on with the, going back to get forward, and I'll bring us up a little fast forward up into the early 70s. I think 1973 to be exact. Is 1973? Is that when you met Andy Shirnoff and sort of decided to create this punk rock band that sort of thumbed their nose at everybody and at anybody that would listen? I want to hear how the Dictators came about and what the scene was like in those early 70s.
Well, we were up in New Paltz College, State University, New Paltz. It's up the New York State Thruway, 70 miles up from New York City. So we were like, and New York and New Paltz was known as a party town. And I had a band. My high school band was called Total Crud, and we were in this. I was in this band, and it was a good band, and we would play all these parties. And it was just like freaking out, and it was just quaaludes and drugs, and it was just like it was insanity in New Paltz. And so Andy, this guy Andy, big Jufro, big hair, would come to the shows and say, man. And one time he grabbed me and go, you're a great guitar player, but you know what, you want to form a band, you want to do something different. I go, yeah, I want to do something different. I go, well, why don't we just form a band? So me and Andy decided to form a band. And so I left the crud, and I got a house in a cornfield in the middle of nowhere, because I figured we'd be so horrible. I don't want to scare it.
A step up from Total Crud. I like the fact that you low expectations with a name like Total Crud. People go in with low expectations, and then they go, "Hey, these guys are pretty good."
Yeah, we were very good. We were a pretty good band, and so Andy and I form a band. We get Scott Kepner from the Bronx, you know, another Bronx boy. He comes up, plays rhythm. I'm playing lead, and we never had an official drummer, so we got a drummer from Poughkeepsie. He would drive in, and you know, Andy was a rock writer. He was a journalist, and he had his own fanzine called the Teenage Wasteland Gazette. And he had friends and that would write in, like, and one of his friends was Richard Meltzer, a writer called Richard Meltzer. And Richard Meltzer wrote for Crawdaddy and Rolling Stone and Cream,
right.
and he also wrote lyrics for the Blue Oyster Cult. So
that Blue Oyster Cult intertwined so much in and out of your career, and how, you know, I always say, be cool with the people that you're playing with right now, because they're going to lead you to your next gig. And somehow Blue Oyster Cult has always been around in the picture. But, you know, like you were saying about getting that good press, I mean, to be press darlings in especially those magazines at those times, Cream magazine, Rolling Stone, that was basically having like 1 million Instagram followers today, right?
It was good. I mean, we had a lot of critics. I mean, you know, we had a lot of. I mean, Robert Christgau panned our first record. I mean, he destroyed us. We were like heartbroken. And then a couple of years later, he recants his review and posts an amazing review.
Yeah,
of Dictators. Real crazy. So I mean, you know.
Wasn't the beauty about the Dictators, though, is that you didn't take it so seriously that you just said, screw it. If you hate us, you hate us. If you love us, you're going to really like us.
That's right. That was the 6-man lineup with Mendoza on the left, who later went to join Twisted Sister.
And I heard that small term, and it's a very loving term, by the way, folks, Jufro, that you said early. I mean, I guess it's 2020, and maybe we'll both get canceled because of that little short term. But you know what? That is great hair, dude. It's great big hair. I even had back in those days, I wanted to have what was it called? A permanent? I actually wanted my hair to be curly.
Like Captain. He had that.
Love it.
At one point. You wanted to be in Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Wow. So the Dictators, you know, you guys are still playing today, which is, again, another theme that's going to be reoccurring. And there you go. There's a question right out of the gate. Vic, do you want to put that up on the chat? Because we have some great questions coming in from the chat.
Carousel Vertigo. No, thank you for the question. No, we never played on Uncle Floyd. I know the remote did, though.
Carousel Vertigo is denied on that. That should have been one of our fact or fictions, Vic. That's a whole nother section too. But what you guys are doing is that from the Dictators, you get hired for your guitar playing ability, your lead guitar playing ability to a band called Shakin' Street.
Right.
And that led you on to a tour that was it with Blue Oyster Cult again, or was it with Dio, or who was it with?
Black Sabbath featuring Ronnie Dio, the first Heaven and Hell tour.
Right. That's where you met bassist Joey DeMaio.
Right.
And was it actually, is it true that Ronnie James Dio introduced you, or how did you all meet?
No, it's correct. Right after my sound check in Newcastle City Hall, Ronnie comes up to me and goes, you know, Ross, I think you're a great guitar player, and I know the Dictators, I know New York scene and CBGBs and all that. It's great, fantastic, and blah 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 blah. But by the way, I have a friend on the road crew. His name is Joey DeMaio, and I think you guys would hit it off. He plays bass, unlike nobody you ever seen play bass before. And I go, okay, yes sir, Mr. Dio, come on. So as soon as the sound check was over, I put my guitar down, I sought Joey out, and we became friends, and we started jamming in Black Sabbath's dressing rooms on the tour, and then
well, isn't that the thing? Like, people say punk rock is about, you know, it's all attitude and not a lot of talent. But the thing is, the Dictators, you know, especially with your guitar playing and the other musicians, there was a lot of talent in that band, and that's basically what happened with Manowar, is that you transcended punk rock into a more traditional, pioneering heavy metal, but with a very high musicianship, right?
Correct. Yeah. I you know, because I was always like a heavy guitar player growing up. I mean, my influences are from, you know, the English blues wave, Peter Green and Page, Beck, Jimi Hendrix, David Gilmour. I mean, all those guys. I mean, before me were. I mean, I worship them. They're gods to me. And you know, heavy band, heavy music. James Hetfield always said, "You're the heavy guitar player in a punk band, Ross." And I go, "Yeah, basically right." And that's, I mean, the move from Dictators to Manowar was just imagery and lyrics. I mean, it was just like 180 degrees apart, but musically it was easy for me.
But the thing I liked about it is that you not only embraced it, you kind of proudly embraced all the cliches of what a heavy metal band is, right? And maybe you invented a few of them. And because I want to talk about some of these cliches that Manowar has always been known for. Because I looked at some, you know, doing research for this episode today. I looked at some clips on YouTube. You guys have like 4 drum kits. You got the Marshall wall, and then you got friggin' motorcycles on stage. So how did all these cliches come up? Was that purposely thought out from the beginning?
Well, the giant equipment was right from the beginning. Was right from the get-go. The day we signed with EMI, we went to Marshall Factory in Hempstead, and I bought 12 bottoms, 7 heads. I mean, and then Joey had 32 15s and 24 12s, and it was
there you go.
It was an insane amount of equipment, and yeah, we wanted to present that image as, you know, bigger than life, and you know, you know, just like Kiss, I guess would have done, and we wanted to present a big, and we used those amps. Oh boy.
Okay, hold on that picture for a second, folks. Everyone take a screenshot of that, because that would be what a band with 4 Chuck Garricks in it would look like right there. That's 4 of my bass player in Alice Cooper band that time. I love it. So
my son was actually shocked by that picture when he
was?
My son was shocked by that picture.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I there's some pictures that I have of like back in the day, blonde dreadlocks that my kids go, "No, that's definitely not you. It's not you. I know that."
He goes, "Dad, thank God you kept your pants on."
All right, we can stop going back to that picture, Vic. I think we've had enough of that. I always ask Vic for a pic, you know, that he doesn't have, and of course, that's the one that he really does have, and he's very proud of it. He's proudly embracing it as well, folks. We are here with Ross the Boss. We've gone through a little bit of the Dictators' history. We are going through Manowar's, your time in Manowar. I always equated Manowar as almost like a Euro band, but you guys are an American heavy metal band. Why do I have that misconception that it is a European band?
Well, because all the fanfare and all the hype was coming from Europe in the beginning, from England mainly when it got it started. We had like Music Maker, Kerrang. We were on the cover of all those magazines, and we had never played there. I mean, you know, and finally we got to play there, and that's why we named our 3rd record "Hail to England."
Aha.
Because that was the country that really, excuse me, yeah, that's the record. That's nice. My album cover, by the way. That was Ken Landgraf from Marvel Comics drew that, and I mean, I love that.
It looks killer. Well, all your album covers have that. You know, it's either a Manowar album cover or a Fabio book cover. It's one or the other.
No, but we landed in England, right? But then England kind of subsided a little bit, and we went to the mainland. And Germany was actually the country that went berserk for Manowar, and that's where our gold records and all that stuff comes from. And you know, that's where, you know, the Germans just went berserk. Then Eastern Europe, and then all of Europe, and then, you know, so then South America, and so that's that's the way that happened. So,
well, there you have a fellow a fellow New Yorker, or East Coaster. I don't want to say New Yorker, but Dennis Dunaway, original bass player of Alice Cooper, is tuning in today to the podcast. Did you guys ever play any shows with Alice Cooper back in the day?
The Dictators? I don't think so. We played with. We might have.
All right. Well, we've caught up now to
Dennis. Hello, Dennis. You're a genius, by the way, buddy.
That's awesome.
Love you.
Well, you know what? At one point, we got to get you and Dennis on at the same time. But Manowar, you made 6 albums with them. You make 6 albums with that band. You parted ways after Kings of Metal. And this leads us up to basically, there it is. Look at that. There's another. Man, you guys worked out, or you had really good artists.
Really good artists.
Really good graphic artists. No, but I'm sure you guys worked out as well. And it's bringing us up to the late 80s, which is, you know, kind of my groove. That's when I moved to New York. And I remember it well. And I actually asked my guys in my band, Electric Angels, I emailed them. I said, hey, didn't we play a show with Manitoba's Wild Kingdom? And they were like, no, you just played the shit out of Haircut and an Attitude all the time at the house. I was like, oh, okay, that was it. So you join up with fellow Dictators, Andy, Handsome Dick Manitoba. You form, or you joined up, they had a guitar player, right? And then you joined into Manitoba's Wild Kingdom, right?
Yeah. And he left.
And then you have that, you have drummer J.P. Patterson, and you made this album, And You. And I think And You had Haircut and an Attitude. Am I right?
Correct.
Such a killer. Just so you know, I listen to that all the time. I know, what was the controversy behind this album cover at the time? Go back to that album cover.
Benito Mussolini on the cover?
Yeah.
That's him?
Think so.
Yeah, Il Duce.
Yeah.
I was telling someone just before, everything that we did was a complete joke. I mean, you can't, nothing we do at the Dictator camp can be taken seriously, only the music. But, you know, but all that other stuff is like.
Well, if you go back to that album cover, it actually just looks like a penis, right, Vic? Can you go back? Yep. I don't know if you ever caught that, but it just, you know, circumcised at least. There you go.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
And Manitoba's Wild Kingdom is managed by Sandy Pearlman. Am I correct with that?
Correct for a while. Yep.
For a while. Okay. Again, he's, you know, producing, managing Blue Oyster Cult. Again, Blue Oyster Cult comes around your way, and you start playing in a band with Andy Bouchard, who actually plays with Dennis Dunaway right now in Blue Coupe. So there, see how everything's intertwining, folks? It's all intertwining. But we have, you form a band called the Brain Surgeons. And the thing I like about the Brain Surgeons is that someone, go ahead.
Actually, I joined the band. Albert and the Brain Surgeons were recording a few albums before I came on board. Okay.
Well, I was told that Brain Surgeon, a good description was a cross between the Dictators and Cheap Trick. Fair?
Brain Surgeons? Nah, I think Brain Surgeons are a little more eclectic than that. Eclectic. I think that you know, Albert was just doing what Albert and he was in the band with his wife at that time, Deborah Frost. I mean, I think he was just a little more eclectic. You know, okay. The Cheap Trick had.
I got. You know what? I got my reference. You're in so many damn bands, Ross the Boss, that I get my descriptions wrong because I'm looking at my notes, going, "Oh shit!" And it's just sure. Once a podcast, I'll completely mess up. But the thing is, that wasn't the band that was the cross between Dictators and Cheap Trick. It was a later band because you're getting in all these bands in the '90s. Dictators are still, you know, making albums, doing tours. You form a couple of bands. One of them is a band called atmidnight.com, which
it's called the Spinatras.
The Spinatras. Okay. Was the album at midnight.com?
That's correct. Very good.
All right. Well, I was just going to say, if you had that name at midnight.com, you would have been really early on the Instagram tags or all that kind of stuff back then.
That right. And the Spinatras were I think, I wrote all the music on the record. I thought it was a combination of Cheap Trick meet the Ramones.
There you go. Okay. Cheap Trick meeting the Ramones.
Yeah.
And then there was another band called The Pack.
The Pack, right?
What was The Pack about?
Well, it was basically an '80s thing. We were from the '80s, and it was just all those musicians. When my friends, we went on. We made a band called Heyday.
Okay.
That's in there too. We recorded, and then Spinatra's. We got a major label deal, CMC Records, and
So talk about in the trenches. That's what you're doing, man. You are in the trenches this whole time because you're just playing. And what was income like? Was it about playing any tour you could get on and just making your way, making ends meet?
well, I would do any. I'm the kind of guy that will do anything to play guitar. I mean, I've been that way since I picked it up. I mean, I am the most happy in my life when I'm playing, and I don't care who if I'm playing with my friends, if I'm playing with Manowar in front of 80,000 people, or I'm playing in front of 8 people or 80 people. It doesn't matter to me. I'm the same guy. I mean, as long as I am playing guitar, I am a happy camper, and I've always been that way, and I always will be that way, and hence I don't stop. I don't stop doing anything, and music is always coming out, and I hit it like it's my last show, it's my last gig, I will give it everything that I have in life, because that's just the way I am, and it makes me happy to play music, and makes me happy to play music with my friends, which I'm doing.
I'm Ryan Roxie, and I've taken all my years of experience of playing guitar, and I want to pass the torch of rock and roll on to you. Check out the System 12 Guitar Method. Hello folks, Roxie here. Thanks for watching the video. And if you liked it, hit the subscribe button or one of the videos around me to watch more. If you'd like to, please leave a comment. If you didn't like the video, maybe you'll forget how to type.